Hello everyone, today we will paint a Space Maid Marine, sword not included. We will start by painting the dress and metal armor on the body with Doomfire Magenta. Do not paint the apron, however do paint the arms and the helmet. While the contrast dries, the jetpack can be painted with Abaddon Black. Just be careful where you touch the model. We will change to Sunset Red and start applying highlights on all magenta areas. Don't flatly paint the highlights on the dress, drag a little bit of the highlight into the shaded area. Same for the highlights on the arms. For the helmet you can flatly paint them as it has a lot of details already. Said highlight strokes are needed for the glaze that will follow later. Of course, it is optional, and if you want to have flat highlights, you can just ignore the instructions. Due to the lack of a good pink shade, we will create our own by mixing 3 parts of contrast medium with 1 part of Doomfire Magenta. Create a generous amount of the mix, as we will not only use it for shading, but also for the glaze that will follow. Shade all pink areas with the mix. After we let the shade dry fully, we will start blending the dress's highlight with the shaded areas by glazing these areas with a mix. If you don't know how to glaze, here is a top-down view. Dip your brush into the shade, then pass the brush from a dry paper towel so that the excess of the shade is gone. Finally, paint the area you want to. In our case, apply the glaze from the transition point about 10% in both ways. Let a layer dry fully and then apply the next one. I needed about 6 layers for the results you see. Before we proceed to highlight the dress, we will paint a few more areas in order to be able to fix mistakes easily later. One of said areas is the apron and the tutu around the dress. Both areas will be painted with sky gray. There is also tutu at the shoulder pads and under the armor at the chest level, as well as the arms. Those should also be painted. Once the gray is dry, we will cover all those areas with violet coven. It may require multiple layers for the color to show, as it is very faint. The holster which holds the pistol can be any color you would like. I had in hand dryad bark as I was painting some spears in parallel, so it got painted that color. Another area that requires painting before the pink highlights is the rope thingy at the chest. It will be painted with XV88. Along with the rope, we shall paint the pauldron's edges, meaning the areas where the dressy part ends and the metallic part begins. Also the metal part around the head at the body level. With everything based and ready, we can begin the highlighting process. Let's return to Sunset Red. With it, we will first fix any mistakes on the dress, which is either in the transition area or the highlighted area. Any mistakes that has happened on the dark areas will be fixed with Screamer Pink. Once we have fixed all mistakes, we will apply a highlight of Sunset Red on all areas the light would hit. This step includes the helmet, arms, as well as the pauldrons. So take your time and go over all of them. With Emperor's Children, we will go and highlight once more the dress and all armor pieces. Try to paint about 60% of the area of the previous pink, and on the helmet, catch the highest details. Since we have Screamer Pink handy from the fixing step, we will reuse it in order to paint the bows that exist on top of the apron, the helmet, and on the jetpack. Paint a little paw on the bow as well if you like it. We will work on it shortly. Change to Pink Horror. Highlight the bows and paint the paw pads. Try not to paint in the recesses of the paw, otherwise there is no issue with errors. Back to Emperor's Children to give the bows a second highlight on the highest of details. Then, while keeping the color, highlight the paw pads. Subsequently, with Fulgrim Pink, add a few details here and there on the paw pads. As Fulgrim Pink is a niche color, feel free to skip this step. In order to hide any mistakes that happened while we were painting the bows, we will mix Violet Coven with pure white, about 50-50. It will give us a gray-violet color, which we will use to highlight the apron and the tutus. 2 or 3 layers will be required as the color is too bright and does not show up with just one layer. Time to highlight the ochre part. First, we will make a 2-to-1 XV88 and Palette Witch Flesh mix. Loading a small brush with the mix and using its belly, we will catch all raised areas on the robe. Using the same technique, we will paint the coat of arms on the shoulder pads. Also, we will highlight the neck guard and the pauldron rims. Afterwards, we will add one more part of Palette Witch Flesh to the mix, so it becomes a 1-to-1. With the new mix, we will add second highlights on all areas we highlighted before. Ensure you cover less area this time. At this point, you can have Palette Witch Flesh pulling an Uno reverse card on the mix by adding another part and applying another highlight. In order to save time, you can just use pure Palette Witch Flesh and directly apply details to the most raised areas of the highlights. All the hard work we have done so far in the ochre areas is now going to get shaded. We shall go over all areas and apply Casadora yellow. Avoid as much as you can to shade on the pink areas. Optionally, after the shade has dried, go over the robe once more with Agrax Earthshade. I wanted the robe to be a bit darker than the pauldron rims in order to differentiate them. The rims reflect light, but the robe does not. Thus, it has to be slightly darker. The cape will be a complementary color to the pink. I thought something pastel, dark and green would do the trick. Thus, the choice was made for Deathworld Forest. Although the capes outside is easy to paint, do be careful of mistakes when you paint the inside. Mixing 1-to-1 Deathworld Forest and Elysian Green, we will create a mid-tone. With said mid-tone, we are going to highlight the cape. Keep the mix, as we will use it again. It's high time we bring our cape's color together and darken them simultaneously. Apply a nice layer of Coelia green shade to the cape, both outside and inside. Allow it to pull in the recesses of the cape, but not excessively. Once we are completely sure the shade is dry, we will reuse the mid-tone we used 2 steps before and apply a highlight in the most prominent areas of the cape. I understand the light will be coming from the front of the miniature, however I did like to have some highlights on the back as well. Apply highlights where you see fit. Then, with pure Elysian green, we will add the second highlight around the cape. With the main body done, we are now going to focus to the small details here and there, which will allow us to finish the model. First thing we will need is to finish the helmet. To do this, we will carefully paint the visor's eye sockets with Corax white. Afterwards, we will layer the Corax with Warpstone Glow in order to make them pop up a bit from the rest of the color scheme. Then we will paint the bells at the ear level with Retributor armor. Shading the bells will happen with the use of Agrax Earthshade, so that the gold is warmed up a bit. Afterwards, once the shade is dry, we will go back to Retributor armor and highlight it. Optionally, to make the bells a little more shiny in some places, we can add details of auric armor gold. The gun's body will be entirely painted with black Templar. Using Corn Red, we will paint the hearts that exist on the gun. Optionally, with the same color, we will go to the body and paint the hearts there too. Subsequently, we will highlight the hearts with Mephiston Red. Paint the top half of the hearts. Follow up with highlights of Eshin Grey on all the edges and the areas the light would hit on the gun. Finally, only on the most prominent areas which the light hits directly, apply details of Dawn Stone. The wings on the gun can be painted exactly as the bells on the helmet. Since the paint scheme is shown, I will not demonstrate further. I have complete trust in you that you can do it. And with that, the Maid Marine is ready. The sword was my first try on non-metallic metal and therefore I do not believe it should be shown. I may do another tutorial on it in the future. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps me immensely. All colors used in the video are on your screen now. I was MiniatureUrsus. Thank you for watching and I will see you on the next one.